Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up. Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to part 5 of What If Deku Had Hanma DNA. I nearly said Naruto then. Anyway guys, last time we left off, yeah, I didn't drag out the intro, did I? Last time we left off, Deku was showing off, bruv. He was scrapping villains, he beat the hell out of Shigaraki, saving Aizawa, and then he fought against Anomu and absolutely destroyed it. But he also accidentally leaked. He didn't think everyone was watching. He accidentally showed off that lightning quirk that he learnt when he fought against his father for the first time. So now we go to All Might, who just arrived, seeing the Nomu being ripped in half by Deku and Deku passing out, as well as his body absorbing Nomu blood. Wonder what that could mean. Now, Deku wakes up in the UA infirmary. He goes, "Ugh, I'm here too much," as he sits up. He does not notice that there's to the right, there's the entire class 1A. He's knackered. Deku does not notice this at all. His instincts are turned off. He gets up, gets ready. He takes his top off, showing all the scars that he's ever had. This freaks out some of his classmates, and he just walks out. Everyone in there sits in silence, saying, "Did he just?" Deku finally realizes who was in there, and he rushes back in. He goes, What are you guys doing in here?" Chihiro goes to him, "Well, you did save all our lives. We just wanted to thank you and make sure he was okay. But I'm pretty sure no one else is going to ask this, but I will. How did you get them scars?" Deku says, "What scars?" "Oh, them. From training. Where else?" Momo says, "What type of training did you do to get them scars?" And Deku just replies with a blank face. "Did you really think I got as strong as I did? By luck. With no effort? No. Ask Bakugo if you don't believe me. Was I this strong, Bakugo, when we was kids? No. I used to beat the shit out of you." Deku says, "Sure. I wasn't this strong, that's all I'm saying. It took effort and determination. You all could be this strong if you just trained hard enough." This gives all of them motivation, especially Denki and Kirishima. But anyway, they all bow their heads down and thank you, and thank Deku, and also apologise to him, saying, "We should have stepped in, sorry, blah blah blah." Bakugo says what everyone else is thinking. "Damn it, Deku, what was that quirk, that black lightning?" And Deku says, "I don't know what you're talking about." He denies it for a solid 10 minutes. And he says, "Ugh, fine." He starts lying, like, completely. "Part of my quirk is I can burn my physical energy to create lightning, but I barely ever use it because it burns through my stamina in seconds. I use it as a last resort, which is why I passed out at the end." Everyone hearing this says, "Oh, that makes sense." And Denki goes, "Damn it, I thought I had someone with a lightning quirk. We could have trained." Deku says, "I can still train a bit," and he puts his hands out and creates black lightning. He says, "As long as I don't overuse it, I can use parts of it and it burns my stamina slowly. But this doesn't really enhance anything. And I can shoot it out, but that also drains my stamina insanely." Of course, Deku is chatting the most shit. He could use this infinitely if he wanted to. And Denki smiles, saying, "Yes! I wonder what happens if I use your electricity to charge mine." And Deku says, "I'm also curious about that." But they move on. All Might busts into the room saying, "I heard young Hanma is awake." Everyone seeing this goes, All Might. And he asked them all for a moment with Deku. They all agree immediately and leave. No one spies on them at all. I expected Bakugo to, but even he doesn't. And he goes, "Young Hanma." And Deku just says, "Call me Izuku or Deku." And he says, "But I like young Hanma." Deku says, "Go on then." He says, "Young Hanma, I want to thank you on behalf of the entire UA for doing what you did. Even though I did not get there in time, you fought till you dropped, and you saved all of your classmates' life. And from what I heard from Aizawa, you also saved his life. But I'd also want to ask you about what everyone reported. You were using a black lightning quirk." Deku says the same thing he said to everyone else, to All Might. He says, "I wanted to keep it a secret though, because there's no point in letting everyone know your secret moves and special moves. Because what will we have a traitor?" When he hears this, All Might shoots up. He says, "Quite sharp of you." That's what I also wanted to talk to you about. There's been talk that there's most likely a traitor in UA who's working with the villains. Hearing this, Deku says, I was thinking the same thing, because there was no way they managed to organise that trip so quickly. There's 3 people I want to rule out. There's no way it's Denki, Kirishima, or Bakugo. All Might says, why would you think that? And Deku says, I have this sort of sense. Kirishima's number one drive in life is to protect people. Probably something to do with his past not being able to. Denki's number one purpose in life is he wants to show everyone that he's not some useless idiot. And he wants to show people that he can be as good as the other heroes. And Bakugo, I've known Bakugo since we were kids. If he was a villain, to be fair actually, he would probably be a great one. But when I last called him a villain, he got so offended he tried to fight me. And All Might says, okay, I understand. But other than that, I also wanted to tell you, I can't really train you that well. But I'm here to offer you my guidance whenever you need it. And Deku says, yeah, the only thing you can really help me with is already sparring. That's when All Might reveals to Deku his injury and his time limit. And Deku says, interesting, so I want you to perform your hero activities and then fight with me at the end of the day when you have the energy to. And All Might says, yes, that was what I was going to suggest. But other than that, I'd let you rest. Deku waits for All Might to leave, as All Might asks Deku to stay in this hospital for at least 2 days, but as soon as All Might leaves, he gets dressed and leaves. Although all the nurses are insisting he stays, he shows them that all his injuries are healed, as there's something wrong with Deku's body's urging him to get home. And that's what he does. As soon as he walks in the door, his mother rushes to him, but when he makes eye contact with his mum, he feels insane pain all over his body and he collapses. He's now in an empty black space. And he opens his eyes and his father's in front of him and he says, yes my boy, interesting. He's clapping. He says, I knew Shigaraki wouldn't listen to me, but I didn't expect you to kill the Nomu. You're always breaking what I expect from you, breaking past my expectations. You really are, my son. Deku's glaring at his father saying, what do you want, Yujiro? And he's like, as you can probably tell, when you beat that Nomu, its blood sunk into its body. I expected this. You see, there's been limiters placed on your body by me, just in case you did awaken your quirk. It was meant to make you quirkless. But surprisingly, your quirk was so powerful that it, in reality, broke through my limiters. This Nomu blood was containing something that would remove the limiters I placed on you and also allow me to send you messages sometimes. And Deku says, is that why I feel this energy rushing through my body? Deku says, yes, you already broke one of the limiters, weren't that? All Might. He says All Might with such hate in his voice. Gave you his quirk. But I broke the other 3. So now your training shall increase. And the techniques that I know you've wanted to try before, that your body just wouldn't let you, you can try. Deku's eyes widen as he looks at his father. Yujiro recognises what he's doing. And he blocks it. He says, I see you. You recognise you've gained one of my traits. You can see any weakness, any illness that someone has. And I'm guessing you've seen the impurity in my chest. Deku says, yeah, what is that? Yujiro says, don't worry, it isn't a weakness. It's just something I'll put out as a weakness. One of Deku's abilities, he can always tell when someone is lying when he wants to. This is even something that even All for One can't do. So he recognises that it isn't a weakness. And One for All says, I'm just going to say Yujiro. Yujiro says to him, this is power that I've been condensing, waiting for you to stand up and go against it. When our fight happens, I'm going to release this, and the world's going to see power it's never seen before. And Deku laughs and says, you've done that as well? This catches Yujiro off guard. Deku reveals it. Deku's been concentrating power, excess power, that would normally seep out of his body into his heart. And Yujiro starts laughing. You really are, my boy. Figuring that out. This took me years to figure out. But I guess our final battle will be interesting. Till then, see you then. Deku wakes up in the sofa with his mum, who was about to dial 911. And she says, thank God you woke up. Izuku says, "Yeah, sorry mum, I was just so tired, I couldn't sleep in hospital at all." He's lying, of course. Inko recognises that he's lying, but she chooses not to prod at it. She says, "Anyway, how dare you do something so dangerous? Why couldn't you wait for the heroes?" And Deku just replies, "If I waited for the heroes, many people would have died, mum. I'm just fulfilling my dream of being the number 1 hero." Anyway, he sits down. And he explains to his mother, "Anyway, mum, I have so much to tell you." He was waiting for a week. He's explaining to his mother that he's all my successor, that he feels his quirk's gotten way stronger, and he can't wait to train more and more and more. As Deku's talking, Inko's smile just gets bigger and bigger on his face. He's just like his father, except that he doesn't let training crowd his life. He still makes time to come see his mother. He still has time with his friends. He's balancing his hero, training life and everything. And he just says to him, "Izuku, I don't say this enough. You've made me so proud as a mother." Hearing this, Izuku smiles, and he lets another 2 hours go past. He looks at the clock and says, "Anyway, mum, I gotta go train." Inko doesn't stop him, and she says, "Go on then." Deku sprints out of the house. His body feels lighter than ever. He's moving at speeds that barely anyone can keep up with, like eyes can keep up with. And he finally gets to his special training spot. A spot that hasn't been released here yet. It's up in the mountains. There's a spring there, there's a bunch of animals. And here Deku trains, pushing his body to the limit. He swims down to the bottom of the lake, and he trains underwater, meaning the resistance he gets is way stronger. Well, in reality, this doesn't really feel a lot to Deku. And he looks down at the hole in the spring that he's seen before, and he swims down it. He drops into a cave. Deku feels an insane weight on his body, and he also looks around. Monsters he's never seen before are there. Massive lions, massive snakes. What is this? Yes, I know I've done this in a few ways. This is going to be a magical area where Deku's going to be able to train. Because where I've made him stronger and stronger, normal training ain't helping him get stronger anymore. Before he can even react, this massive snake lunges at Deku, and Deku jumps. This jump was meant to send him flying up towards the ceiling, but he barely dodged the snake. This environment, it seems gravity is stronger. This is what Deku's been looking for. The snake rushes at him with its jaws open, and Deku catches its jaws as he gets pushed back. He's pushing his body to its limit right now. All his veins in his arms are bulging, and he rips the snake in half, and he's like, "I like that move." But the venom from the snake falls down, its snake glands will burst, and it pours on Deku's skin. Deku screams. The venom's burning his skin, but it's healing at the same time. And soon enough, the poison, or the venom, whatever it is, stops working on Deku. Immunity to poison. I like it. More and more insane type of beasts rush at Deku, and Deku's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Soon enough, he can't even feel the effect of the gravity on him, but he can feel that his stamina is reaching its limit, and he runs back to the entrance that he came through, and he jumped up through the lake. He looks at his arms. From the venoms there was scars, but they're shrinking, but he decides to cover them up just in case his mother sees them. He gets home, and there's a letter there informing that all students will soon be staying at UA due to there being risk safeties, and if there's villains after UA students, they'll be after the family as well. Deku at first refuses this, but his mother insists, as he can always come back and see him whenever he wants. So the dorms happen a lot sooner. Deku gets to UA, and this is now on Monday. As he walks in, everyone notices that Deku's body seems a bit bigger, and they also see the bandages on his arm. Bakugo rushes over and rips them off, and they see a tiny scar now. It used to be his entire arm, it's tiny. And they go, "Another scar, Deku. Impressive. What sort of training was it this time?" Deku says, "Oh, I fought against a massive giant snake, and its venom exploded all over me when I ripped it in half." Deku says this with a blank face, and everyone laughs. Anyway, as Awa crawls into his class in his beanbag and says, "All of you, take out your notebooks. By the way, we're going to have a UA festival in a few days. Be ready for it." Deku, hearing this, is ready to show off against the other people, show his strength off, and hopefully when his dad's watching, he shows him what he should be afraid of. Every single day for the next week, Deku goes back into that area, and he gets the off chance where he's gaining these monsters' abilities. But not entirely. If one dragon could send him out, If one of them could send a beam of lightning where it would blow up an entire mountain, Deku could just can create that type of lightning. I'm not making him too overpowered. And as such, Deku goes deeper and deeper into this cave. And as time goes on, the gravity gets stronger and stronger. This is exactly what Deku's been begging for. An infinite training where he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. By now, Deku would be about All Might with 200%. And he's just getting more and more happy. Until finally, he breaks into what seems to be a whole new world. And of course, the first thing he sees is a dragon flying in the sky. Deku crouches down and launches at full speed at the dragon, rugby tackling it out the air. It's flying down. Deku actually gets bit by the dragon and he screams. And the dragon bites onto his arm, attempting to rip it off, but Deku says, "Don't you dare!" He pulls his arm to the side and rips inside the dragon's, pierces the dragon's eyeball and rips it out. The dragon releases Deku trying to get away, but Deku wraps around his neck and begins to try choking it out. The dragon sends scales and scales and scales at Deku, until eventually it swallows him. Deku's flying through the dragon's intestines into its stomach. He lands in the stomach acid, which he quickly gains immunity to. But the heat in there is just so intense. Deku knows what he needs to do. He begins to meditate. He's absorbing the heat into his body. He's never going to get a chance like this again. It's like he's in a volcano. And he's ignoring all the dead animals around him. Deku takes a deep breath. He can feel his skin hardening. Until the point he realizes that he's at his limit. He opens his eyes and he pulls out his arms to the side. Ooh! Oh, I nearly knocked my radiator. 1 second. Sorry guys, I'm back. My sister was knocking on the door. Anyway, he pulls his arm out to the side, activating his demon back. He has a rough grasp on how to do it, but not perfect. So it wasn't a full demon, and he full power punches himself out the dragon's stomach. Anyway, he gets home to the UA dorms, and everyone's there waiting for him. He is covered in burns and scars, and they all panic and rush to help him. But he pushes them off and he says it's fine. He concentrates and his healing factor speeds up and his arms all heal over. And he says, "Oh, I'm going to bed." We now go to the day where the sports festival was meant to take place. But Class 1B comes to pay Class 1A a visit. Deku opens the door, and it's just Monoma saying, so you're Class 1A, I don't see anything special here. Bakugo launches an explosion flying towards him, just for Deku to grab him and pull him back, and says, "Nope, what did I tell you when you tried to start another fight with me? I'll handle it." Monoma says, "Nothing seems special here," and Deku says, "You look like a blonde twat, bruv, why are you in my class? You want a problem? Start a problem and see how it ends." Deku gives him a death stare. Monoma shivers a bit, but now that the entire Class 1B is there, he can't back out now. And he says, Class 1A, you're thinking he's so tough. How are you going to react against this? Monoma taps one of the other students who are walking past. If I've said his name wrong, I apologise. Then they had a speed quirk. He throws a punch at full speed towards Deku, just for Deku to catch it. He rips Monoma's forward and then pushes him back at equal force, popping out Monoma's shoulder. Monoma screams and Deku pops it back in. Someone with a healing quirk heals his shoulder, and he stands up saying, "You damn brat!" and he lunges towards Deku. Deku says, "I gave you a chance." He swipes Monoma's fist away from him and grabs him by the face, lifting him up. Monoma screaming, "Let me go! I'll call a teacher!" Deku leans backward and slams the back of Monoma's head into the ground. Before he can fall unconscious, Deku pushes a pressure point on Monoma to wake him up. And he says, "I don't think so." He picks him up again, booting him in the stomach. Someone in Class 1A with the vines tries to pull him back, but he lunges as well, pulling her and chucking her across the hallway. Deku's walking towards Monoma with his arms out. All the Class 1A is telling him to stop, but Bakugo says there's no point. Once someone starts a fight with him, no one's going to stop him. He will never stop till he gets pulled off. Monoma tapping someone else who had a rock quirk, surrounds his fist in rocks and chucks a punch towards Deku. Deku eats the punch, letting it hit him directly in the face. And Monoma goes to throw another one. Deku leans back and sends a headbutt, destroying all the rocks on Monoma's fist. He then roundhouse kicks Monoma in the face. Monoma stumbles back and he says, "I'm sorry." Deku doesn't care. He rushes towards him and punch, kick, slamming Monoma into walls by his ankles, spinning him round, up and down, into the ceiling, and boots him out the window. Everyone screams thinking he's going to die, but Deku runs out and catches him. And as they're landing, Before they land, Deku spins and slams him. He didn't get as much damage, but at least he didn't die. All the teachers have been alerted and they're rushing towards him, especially Deku. Deku sees this and he boots Monoma across the field, giving him more time, sprinting towards him, and while in the air, enters a weird stance no one's seen before. Instead of a punch, it's more through the claw. And he dives towards Monoma, slicing his chest. He didn't do any physical damage, but Deku basically just touched up Monoma's lungs, pushing him in. Monoma feels like he's deaf. He has no air. He's like this is incredibly anxiety and trauma inducing. And after 10 seconds of being able not to breathe, he finally takes a breath. He thinks it's over, but Deku's now on top of him, throwing punch after punch after punch till his fists are bloodied. And erases his quirk, but that doesn't matter. Deku doesn't rely on his fights, and he doesn't rely on his quirk in fights. He still throws punches till All Might grabs onto him. Deku pushes All Might off him with power. Eraser thought he erased his quirk. All Might going to 50%, gets Deku in a hold, pulling him off him. Deku says, "It's alright, calm down now." He started it though. After gathering all the reports that Monoma started it, Deku was let off. And the UA Sports Festival begins after Monoma's healed. Hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, show your friends, family, like and subscribe. Peace out, guys. Bye.